All right, Bills Mafia and NFL fans alike, welcome to my 2023 NFL season award predictions. I'm not going to waste your time today. We're going to get right into it. Starting off with the MVP, I think this is going to be a quite out there pick this year. I don't think many people are expecting it, but if it happened, they'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it. Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jags are about to have an incredible season. Lawrence is going into his second year, which is really his third, but like the second Urban Meyer year, he's just kind of like, you don't really count that. He's got Calvin Ridley coming into the fold this year, who's coming off that gambling suspension. Please play responsibly, kids. They got a bottom half strength of schedule, new weapons, great draft picks, and I think in an AFC that's so loaded, you'd think, the Jags will be the 4 seed, maybe a wild card, but they got an easy schedule. Their division stinks, and if they can squeak out wins against teams like Kansas City, San Francisco, they got a real good shot to run the table here. If they're not the 1 seed, I'm not sure Trevor wins this MVP, because going up against guys like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, who have won MVP multiple times, who are kind of like the household name, guys like that have a bit of an advantage just because of their name has a value to that award. But I think if the Jags can win the 1 seed, Trevor Lawrence should more than likely get MVP. I think he's going to ball out, he's going to break out, and the Jags are going to have a great season. Now, for Offensive Player of the Year, this is going to be quite the wild pick. I don't think many people are going to expect this. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. You already know, the tight end from the Kansas City Chiefs, and probably the greatest tight end of all time. He's never going to win the most valuable player because he's a tight end, doesn't really go to receiving threats. But what I envision for this NFL season is a drop back for a lot of top tier stars in production. I don't think guys like Justin Jefferson are going to be going for 1,800 yards and 120 receptions. Devontae Adams is going to have 15 million touchdowns. And in a year where I think other top receivers will have a down year statistically, I think Travis Kelce is going to shine in where you start to see the transition of tight ends become more a receiver. As you probably know, with Dalton Kincaid getting selected by the Bills, he's not a Y option, he's an F, which is what Kelce is. I think this is truly the start of philosophical change offensively in the NFL, and Kelce winning this award would just put the icing on the cake. Not like his skill set and his dominance hasn't already put people on notice, but seeing Kelce win this award, he's won the Super Bowl twice now. Something about it, I don't know how these people's brains work, but I do think you'll start to see change philosophically from teams offensively. Now, for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with a pretty common pick, I would feel like. Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be switching to defensive end full time this year. He's not going to have any of those wasted snaps at linebacker dropping into coverage. And even with splitting his snap count, he's still been one of the most dominant defensive ends, pass rushers in the league. He's just good. He's just one of those guys that if he continues this pace, he's going to be, I'm not going to say it, but I'm sure you can think of what I'm saying. He's a game breaker, and this change, I think, will be bigger than people think. And I do think he will break the sack record this year. And this might sound like a reach for a point, but I do believe in a weaker NFC with weaker quarterbacks that are just not as good. They're not as aware. They're not as fast. Micah Parsons will be able to capitalize on that, and I think will lead him to breaking that record. Now, for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Carolina Panthers' first overall pick, Bryce Young. I feel like it's a pretty easy pick, pretty safe pick, but I'm going to give you my reasons. I think the NFC South is probably the worst division in football. Tampa sucks. The Falcons suck. The Saints suck. I mean, they got Derek Carr, game-breaking quarterback. He's one of the top QBs in that conference because all of them just stink. I think the Panthers have done enough to surround Bryce Young with enough weapons to at least not stink in year one. I don't think he's going to be a game breaker. I don't even know if he'll be great, but I think he will be adequate enough to get the job done and help the Panthers win the division. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I am going to go with Will Anderson, the 3rd overall pick, the Houston Texans pass rusher. It's a pretty safe pick. I don't really have a good reason, to be honest. I don't really like the situations a lot of the other guys are in. It's uncommon that you're going to pick a defensive back or a linebacker to win this award. It's usually one of the pass rushers, and I think Will Anderson is just the best pass rusher from this class, so it's an easy pick. I know it's a cop-out, but that's just the one I'm going with. Now, for Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with Frank Reich, the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. I feel like it goes hand in hand with Bryce Young winning Offensive Rookie of the Year and the Panthers winning that division, because everyone expects the Panthers to be terrible, or at least worse than the Saints, because the Saints have Derek Carr, which Again, I don't think he's that great. I do think the Panthers have potential to win 10 plus games in this division. I don't think they'll sweep the division. They could get swept by the Saints. They could go 5-1. They could go 3-3. Hell, they could lose all 6 games. I think they split with the Saints. I think they sweep the Bucks, and I think they sweep the Falcons. I think all 3 of those teams are going to be terrible. You know, Frank Reich has a great offensive system. He's played quarterback in this league, so I think him being Bryce Young's coach in his first year and his entry to the NFL is going to be huge for him. I think the Panthers will do great, and I think Frank Reich is your coach of the year. Now, the comeback player of the year, I don't even think I have to say it. I think you know the following name that is about to come out of my mouth. Damar Hamlin. It's his award. It's on lock. I've never been more sure of something in my life than Damar Hamlin winning this award. He doesn't even have to start. He just has to be active on game day, which he more than likely will be. He's the Bills' backup safety. Hell, I don't even know if he has to be active. If he's just on the team, he'll probably win it. It's the same thing with Alex Smith a couple years ago when he broke his leg and he came back. It was his award. It's on lock. To see Damar Hamlin overcome what he's overcome so far is just astounding. It's really incredible. It's a miracle. I'm not one to say that and believe in miracles, but it's quite incredible to see what he's done and see where he's going. Hell, he could be a starter for the Bills in the next few years when Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer end up on their way out. That would truly be one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this sport. It's a bit of a quick video today, but that's going to be it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and let me know your award predictions in the comments down below. On your way out, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel and I greatly appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and I'd really appreciate if you can help us get there. Yeah, and that's it. As a wise man once said, go Bills.